All right, here we are. Good afternoon, everybody. It is straight up, well, 30 seconds before noon, but that's all right. We're a little early, but we're on time because I was always told when you're on time, you're late, but when you're 15 minutes early, you're on time. And that's how I was brought up. And I'm a stickler for leaving, getting out on time. Fredricka, I appreciate you coming on early because she came on early. I was so joyful that
You're
happened.
welcome. You're
so
welcome. You're welcome.
so good afternoon, and how are you doing today?
I am doing well. I can't say I'm doing great, but I'm doing well, I have to say. I'm
Okay.
gonna be truth and honest because there are some things happening in my life, but sometimes we just have to keep pushing and we have to keep pressing on no matter what.
You know what? You said something right there that makes a lot of sense because a lot of people will give up, and I was brought up never give up. Just keep on going forward no matter what. Matter of fact, before we get into the questions, I just want to talk to you when things like that happen. Nobody knows what's going on behind the scenes but you. But they see that professionalism show up, and you sitting there being professional, doing everything you're doing. Then a few weeks later, somebody found out what you was going through, and they said, "Well, you didn't look like you was going through anything." And I said, "I know, but
I
that,
know
but that's what we
exactly.
do,
hmm
you
Yeah.
know."
And it's not even about, because somebody can say, well, you're wearing a mask. You're not being real with people. And it's not that I'm not being real. I think some things we got to keep private to ourselves because we're already dealing with something heavy. And people mean well, right? They mean well and they want to condole, they want to console you and all of the things, but they don't realize sometimes it can be a little overwhelming. And some things you just want to sit in silence and be able to deal with things.
That part right there. And sometimes you tell somebody something, they'll exploit it. And that's why people are hush hush nowadays on
Mhm,
things that they say,
mhm.
but you're so right about that. You know what? What leads into this question, okay?
Okay.
What is Real Fresh Your Life, and what does refresh, renew, and restore means in real life?
Well, coming from my own personal experience, Refresh Your Life is me learning what it took for me to change my life mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And that is for me to become a whole person because sometimes we're giving, one part of us, but another part of us is not whole or it's not healed, I would say. And God wants us to be a whole person. He wants us to be whole and healed throughout our life. And so, with my own experiences, my own past of dealing with traumas and things like that, as I mentioned, I'm a military veteran and I've dealt with some things in my past. I've dealt with things in my childhood. I've dealt with things through marriages, divorce, domestic violence, sexual assault. I've dealt with so many things. And I had to learn how to become whole. So, Refresh Your Life is God gave that to me some years ago. And at first, it started as a juicing business. So I was, because I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And then as I'm doing it, I found myself hurting more because it took so much work to do it, right? And to do all the juicing and put all the time in. And it was just me. My husband helped somewhat, but I was doing the cutting and all the things. And God was like, okay, I gave you this, but it wasn't for this. He said
Hmm.
it was for something else. It was for you to refresh your life through me and then help somebody else do the same.
I'm gonna tell everybody. Well, thank you for your service, first of all, and I always tell everybody that people don't know what questions I have, and it seemed like you led right into the next question without knowing what it was. And that is something else. When that happens, it sort of sends goosebumps down me. Like, wow, is
Mm,
somebody
mhm.
watching me or doing something?
Yeah,
But
somebody is.
which leads to this question: what was the moment in your life that you realized you need to help women reset?
Ooh, I can really tell you it was July 2022. I was going to church, and I've been going to church. I've been raised in church all my life, but always asking God, what is my purpose? What do you want from me? I don't know what my purpose is in life. And God said, your purpose is to help other women who've went through things just like you.
Mm.
He said, the things that you've been through wasn't for you. Yes, you went through them. Yes, you got hurt. Yes, you had these struggles and these trials and tribulations, but I didn't do it just for you. I was using you as an example to show somebody else how they can have a revived life, a renewed life, a restored life through me. And everything that I did through you was for you to help the next woman.
Mm. So you are an Army veteran. How
Yes.
did the military service shape your confidence, discipline, and faith?
Well, I was a very shy girl growing up, and people look at me now, they're like, where you were shy. Oh, I was very shy. My mom, when I was little, tried to tell me to go get something in the grocery store, and I wouldn't do it. I was like, no, Mom, I'm scared. I was always the one behind the scenes, never wanted to be in front, never wanted to be seen. Wasn't confident at all, wasn't confident in how I looked, wasn't confident in how, I was as a little girl or a woman. And when I joined the military, I was still that naive, shy girl. But the military forces you to break out of that shell because if you cannot keep that persona and be someone who needs to take orders, give orders, follow orders, all of those things. You have to be confident in the things that you're going to do. And it didn't all come, they weren't all good experiences, but the experiences I did have shaped me. And I don't regret any of them because I feel they push me into purpose. They push me into being confident. It pushed me into learning and knowing who I really was inside.
Okay, so what are the most confident killers you see in women today, especially women of faith?
Ooh, the biggest one that I can tell you that they don't feel like they're enough.
Mm.
We feel like we need validation from people, validation from our parents, validation from friends, validation from everybody else but ourselves. You are enough, regardless of what somebody else thinks of you. Because guess what? God says you're enough. And because He says you're enough, you don't need validation from anybody. And I had to learn that. I had to learn and realize I can expect other people to agree with what the choices that God has told me to do because everybody's not going to agree and everybody's going to always think of your past. They're always going to think about what you used to do or how you used to be and always look at you that way.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot take their advice. You have to go and do what God told you to do in spite of what people think of you because people always going to think something about you.
Yeah, man, that's deep because you are right. Yeah, I grew up around strong black women when I was growing up, and I watched them being strong. At the same time, I watched them being weak and being vulnerable, and
Yeah.
I watched some people take advantage of that in the family. And I was saying, is this how things supposed to be? Like this doesn't look
Mhm.
right. And
Right.
so I always respected women, regardless of what. Never put a hand on one. Well, number one, I was the grandson, and I had like 30 other cousins and stuff. They used to beat me up. I was their punching bag, but I did not do anything. Anybody else would come out swinging. I didn't. I took a whooping like a whooping. But to this day,
Yeah.
we're close and we talk about that. Which brings up to
Yes.
this: when a woman feels emotionally drained but spiritually hungry,
Hmm.
what is typically happening beneath the surface?
Ooh, that's a deep one because what she doesn't realize. and I'm speaking from my own self, that deep hunger that she's really feeling is God drawing her. God is drawing her to Him. And sometimes we can find ourselves being drawn or reaching out to things that aren't beneficial to our life. And we start reaching for a man, or, another job, another degree, another this. And we just constantly find ourselves, as people say, in the rat race. You're just on the spinning wheel. And you never ever come to this place that you're ever satisfied. Well, because what you're trying to reach for is not what you need to reach for. The hunger that you feel, that's God drawing us to Him. And it's really, you need to find yourself in deeper prayer, talking to Him, crying to Him, reading the Word. That's where you're going to be satisfied because all that other stuff, it's never enough. You're always going to find yourself going more deeper and trying to find running here, running there. And next thing you know, you're running yourself crazy. We just
Mm-hmm.
get involved with so many things and we're like, oh, we're networking. Oh, we're doing this. Oh, we're doing that. No, what you're really is avoiding the real issue. The real issue is that you need to seek God and you need to find yourself in prayer with Him and let Him lead you because sometimes the people that you're around really don't mean you well. They
Mm.
really could care less about you. You think they like you, you think they love you, you think they're supporting you, but you'll know let something real happen in your life where they're nowhere to be found.
Yep, I was gonna say where they at. Nowhere around.
Yeah.
They come back after you get finished and get everything done. They come back. Oh, this is the part I hate. You should have told me. I would have helped you. That keyword I would
Mm,
have.
yeah, I would have.
So, what is the number one lie you hear women tell themselves, and what is the truth, or what truth will replace that?
Mm. Again, it goes back to what I said, I'm not enough, but also that you are beautiful. No matter what you look like, God doesn't make mistakes. And His word says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made in His image. And we see other people and we comparison. Comparison is the word I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's what women do. We compare ourselves to our detriment to other people. And we see people on social media, we see things on TV and all the things, and we don't realize we don't know what that person had to walk through to even get to where they are in their life because we only see the pretty.
Mm.
That's all we see. But we don't know. And you probably wouldn't be able to go through what that person went through. So don't ever compare or covet or, you know, try to say, I wish I had her life. No, you don't. You
Mm.
don't know what that person had to go through. So I encourage you to find out about yourself, find out about your inner self and see how God wants to use you as the person you are and how He wants to make you into your individual person, your unique self, because we're all unique in God's eyes.
You said that point right there. Never wish to be nobody else. Because I know people who are well to do, don't have to worry about working no more in their life. And they go home to an empty house.
Yeah,
I have them turn around, could be this power person in a corporation, but don't have a life.
yeah,
Because like I said, money is the root of evil. That has been told for years. So if you think being a millionaire, everything is going to be right, it's not because where's your structure? Where's your family? Where's all that? You go home, you sit in this. Who said this? Charlie Wilson said this. What is good to have a big old home? You have nobody to go home to.
yes, yeah.
And
Loneliness.
yep, and it is, and that's where that mental health come into play at, because you at home and what's the old saying that Grandma used to tell us? The idle mind is a devil playground.
Yes, I'm telling you. Hmm.
You know,
It really is. The more you sit in your own head, the more you sit in your own in an empty room and don't surround yourself with other like-minded people. Because see, that's the other key. You can surround yourself with people, but are those people uplifting you, encouraging you, pushing you to do better, be better, talk better, think better? But if these people are doing things that are, the other saying say misery love company. So if they miserable, they want to make your life miserable. So you
mm,
can't surround yourself. You got to surround yourself with people who are always going to try to encourage you. When you feeling down, you got to have somebody you can call and be like, hey, I ain't feeling good today. Or this ain't, I don't know what's going on, but I'm low. They can immediately pick you up. They can immediately speak some life into you and you feel better. Oh, I'm coming over to get you, girl. We finna go, whatever. You need those type of people in your life.
you're absolutely right. I had a situation one time where something happened and this person was ready to call it quits and doing all that. Somebody came running, Ron, we need you. We need you. I said, what? I go back to this person just having a breakdown. And I grabbed that person and gave him a hug. I wouldn't let him go. I said, you are not a quitter. You're not going to quit. This is just a
Yeah,
temporary setback that you're going through. We're going to
yeah,
go through things like that. We're going to go through peaks and valleys. Right now, you at a peak right now. I mean, you at a valley right now that I can't explain. You can't explain. It's what you're feeling.
yeah,
But my job
yeah,
here is to be right here with you where you're not going to quit. And you're not. Until this day, this young lady tells that story. If it wasn't for Ron, I'd have walked away from everything. And you're right, because we got to uplift each other, especially
yes,
in our village, in our community, being black. We got to learn how to
yeah,
uplift each other because it's so many stones and rocks thrown at us to keep us down. We got to build our own self up. And sometimes in our community, that's the hardest thing to do because nobody want to take charge of it.
yes. Nobody wants to be that. I don't even know if it's a martyr, but you know what I mean? Nobody wants to be the one to step out of the comfort zone and say, you
Mm-hmm.
know what? Let me let me use the gift. Because if you are that person that can uplift somebody, you have a gift. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that is where we need to find, and I go back to my workbook that I created. It also will help you find the gift that you have. Some of us don't even know our gifts. We don't know what gifts that God has given us. And then we take those gifts and multiply those gifts to help somebody else. So you could have the gift of being an encourager. You could have the gift of being an uplifter. You can have the gift of helping people with their finances. You have the gift of having this podcast, helping people find, branch out and talk to other people and to discover who they are.
Mm-hmm.
These are gifts that we don't know how to multiply or know how to, push up in ourselves to be able to help the next person, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
for you. Your gift is to help somebody else. It's not to keep to yourself. It reminds me of the story in the Bible of the three men and the talents.
Mm-hmm.
One was given one talent, one was given three, one was given five, right?
Yes.
And the one with the one talent, he went and buried it. The one with the three, he multiplied it. It says he multiplied it three times, the five multiplied his. But the one with the one talent, he buried it. And the master asked him, what did you do with it? He said, I buried it because I didn't want to, I didn't want to lose it, or I didn't want to, mess it up or whatever. He was very disappointed. He was
Mm-hmm.
disappointed. And we have to learn to figure out what our gifts are and then use those gifts and multiply those gifts, see them in other people and help multiply them in other people.
Right. I'm with this advisory board, and they were giving people tasks to do. And I raised my hand before you give people tasks to do. I think it'd be a good idea to ask each one what their gifts are, the gift that God gave them. Ask each one. You may get somebody to do finance and they don't know about finance. You may give
Come on.
somebody something they don't know about, but find out what each person's gift is and
Yeah.
assign your tasks according to their gifts. It'll come out
Yeah.
much better. Everybody stopped. They looked at me. I never heard of that before. I said,
Wow.
well, that's what I would do. I'll find somebody gifts and we use their strong point. Now, there's
Mhm.
no such thing as a weak point. And I said, I don't want to use that word weak. But what I'm trying to say, whoever is not good in that area, we got other people here to lift them up. It's not that they're being weak. They don't know. They need to be lifted up. They need things going on. So we got to learn to carry each other on our back in order to be successful. And that's the point I made. And they looked at me and said, we never thought of asking everybody for each gift. That's where I would start off at.
Yeah, and you know what? That happens every day on jobs because you have people working in organizations, working in positions, and they're really not gifted. They're qualified.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference. You qualified on paper to do that job, but your
Oh,
character
preach it.
and who you are is not qualified to do that job because you don't have the gift to work with people.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a gift to know how to talk to people, how to work with people, and how to pick up on people when they are feeling down. It
Yes.
takes you got to see all of those things. And I feel like a lot of people aren't happy, or this is why people don't stay on their job for a long time because they're not working in their gift. They're
Mm-hmm.
not.
Hey, oh boy, you hit something right there because um some of the industry I've been in, like Microsoft, for instance, a lot of people could pass that certification test, ace it,
Mm,
but in real
hmm.
life, they they don't know. They don't have a clue.
Yeah, yeah,
When real life scenario hit people, they don't know it because I'm not knocking people who be behind the book getting book smarts and all that stuff, but there's
right.
another smart you got to have. It's called the street smarts and common sense smart. And common sense is not common
It's
anymore.
not common anymore. No, no, it
so
is not.
when that happens, you could be the smartest person in the world in books, but that person who didn't go to school know more than you do and can do the job better. You got that job because you went to school and got a diploma. They didn't, but they know more than you do.
Yes. Yep.
Mm.
Mm,
Boy, Ron,
hmm.
don't get started, Ron. All right. Tell us about the Refresh Your Life Confident Transformation Workbook and who is it for and what results can people expect?
So it's a workbook for faith-filled women who, need to excel. And I say not excel, EXCEL, but exhale, EXHALE. They need to exhale. And the pressure, they need to embrace their healing and rise transformed. And so this book is filled with scriptures. So every day, it's a 21-day transformation workbook. So
Mm.
for 21 days, you are going to start with a scripture, and then you're going to go into a affirmation that you would have to talk to you or say to yourself throughout the day. And then you're going to go into a workbook, a um, almost like a journaling type um, coaching segment, right? It's going to ask you some questions and you're going to have to write down some things and really get real about who you are. Because this is what I did for myself. And when God gave me this, I was like, what? And again, this went back to I'm not enough. And God says, you are enough. Because I asked the Lord, who am I that I would write something like this, that I would do this, for somebody else to, and he said, why not you?
Mm.
Why not you? And so I fought and I wrestled. And this is just one. It is going to become a series, but this is just the first one. And then I'm working on a book as well. But this starts 21 days. And the mantra for this workbook is Proverbs 31:25. And it says that we are confident, in Christ. That's where our confidence comes from. It doesn't come from our own self because we don't have confidence in our own self. It comes through Christ. It comes through his confidence showing us who we are inside. And once he shows us that, can't nobody tell you. Can't nobody tell you
Mm,
nothing. Promise you, you will be like, mm-mm, I know who I am and I know whose I am. And you ain't gonna be able to turn me away from it.
mm,
So at the end of it, after you go through the 21 days, the beginning um, page, you will have to write a reflection letter to yourself, talking to yourself, writing down who you are right now when you start the journey, right? And then when you get to the end of the 21 days, you're going to have to write another letter to yourself of what you've experienced and where you are now, where you think you, how far you've come after doing this workbook. And so in between, you're just going to be learning and growing. I can tell you now, one of the quotes, and I'm still trying to figure out who said it, but I don't know. But one of the quotes in here says, "Great things never come from comfort zones."
mm. I like that. I like that because it don't, because you're in the comfort zone. You know, writing your book right there. I just gotta ask you this one question because God wakes me up at 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes, and I'm trying to figure out. I just went to bed at 11. While I'm up at 3, and I'm trying to figure out what is he trying to tell me. So I stumble my sleeping eyes into the office, and I sit at the computer and sit down there and look. I say, okay, so what do you want me to do? Then all of a sudden I start working and doing things, and then I find out some of the stuff I should have done 2 days ago, and I said I'll get to it. I'm doing it. So he brings me in there for me to do that. And my question for you is this: when you first started writing that, and I know God was right there with you, was it a slow start for you to get going? Or was he giving you that information so fast you was putting it down on paper?
Oh no, it was very slow. It was a slow process
Mm,
because he was giving it to me in the midst of me actually, like I said, going through my own, learning how to be confident, right? So I was writing things down, and as I was journaling and I was doing these things, and then he showed me how to put it in place, right? And he said, I want you to use the word because that's how you got through. You use my word. And I said, okay, Lord. And then I was like, okay, I don't know. How is it supposed to look? What am I supposed to do? And there's a saying that says if you do something for 30 days, it becomes a habit,
right.
right? And so I already had women, this was the thing. So I already had women coming to me about their self-esteem, their confidence. Like, oh, I can't wear that jewelry because I sell jewelry. Just like I said, I sell jewelry. And I would have my jewelry displayed, and women would come up to my table and they would see it and they'll be like, oh, that's too much for me, or I could never wear that. Or I'm like, what? Who said? Who said you could never? Who said you couldn't wear this? And my quote for them is jewelry doesn't make you beautiful, it enhances the beauty you already have. So as I'm already basically teaching these women, I'm already showing them where their confidence, showing them that don't put yourself down,
Yeah.
don't beat yourself up because we're good for that. We don't need nobody else to do it. We can do it all by ourselves, beat ourselves up, right? And so as I'm doing this, God says you already been walking in your gifts and you don't even know it. You don't. He said, now I'm going to show you how to write this down in a journal, in a journey, a 21-day journey, just like you had to go through. And you're going to show them how you went through it. So I tell people everything that's in this book, it wasn't just something I wrote. I had to do it too. I had to live through this. And this is something that helped my own life. And I know it'll help somebody else's.
Wow. Now you use the word confidence, and it takes a lot of people to build that confidence. But one thing people get twisted, and they got it twisted with me, conceited.
Yes.
And I'm trying to figure out, huh? I
Yeah.
remember when I first moved to Texas, I walked in the room to do something. They called me a conceited and follow it 4 letter words after that. And I said,
Wow.
you don't even know me. I said, that's not. I said, that's confident walking into a room. That's what. As
Yes.
a matter of fact, you never probably seen confidence, but it took me a while to build that confidence up. It didn't happen overnight, because
Mm-mm.
I was like you. I was the shy one. I didn't speak that much, and the reason why I didn't
Yeah.
speak that much, because back in the days, I had a very bad stuttering problem. I was beat up.
Really?
I was beat up because I stuttered. I knew what I wanted to say, but it didn't come out right. And so I was called dumb, stupid, never amount to anything, and all that stuff.
Wow.
I took all
Wow.
that abuse, but you know, here I am today doing the things that I do. So when I walk into the room, that is, if we just said that earlier, you don't know what I went through,
Mm-hmm.
and here where I am right now. You know,
Yes.
you don't know it. So when I walk in the room, if you think I'm walking in the room conceited, then you don't want the problem, because I'm walking in the room confident that I could do what I came here for.
Yes. So I want to give you because I wanted to pull this up because I've heard that too. Because people can say, "Oh, you think you," was it people say you think you such a much?
Yeah.
You hear that? That's an old folk saying.
Mm-hmm.
But confidence is a quiet assurance in who you are and what you can do. It is secure. It does not need applause. It knows its strength and weaknesses. It uplifts others instead of competing with them. Okay? A confident person can say, I am gifted, while still being humble and teachable. A conceited person is an inflated view of oneself. It seeks validation, superiority. It compares, competes, and often belittles others. It struggles with correction.
Mm.
A conceited person says, I am better than everyone. That is the difference. People, if you are not willing to take constructive criticism, if you're not willing to somebody to say, you know what, you could have did that better, or how about let me show you this way, and you're willing to humble yourself and say, sure, I would love,
Mm-hmm.
please show me, please. That's when you know you have confidence
Yes.
because we never get to a place that we've arrived. We don't know everything and we will never know everything. There's always somebody who knows more than we do, and we should
Mm-hmm.
be humble enough to be willing to accept the help, to accept the criticism, to accept the encourage, whatever that is, we need to be willing to accept it. But if you ever come to a place, I don't need you to tell me nothing. I don't need you to, I don't, who are you? I don't need you to tell me anything. I know it all. I have, mm, there's work to be done. There's work to be done.
My one of my things I tell people when we're out there, I say, I'm not here to compete against you. I'm here to complete you.
Yes, yes, yes.
You know,
That's
and
what we have to do as a culture.
mm-hmm.
We have to stop thinking we're competing with each other and say we need to complete each other because you have something that I don't have
Mm-hmm.
and I have something that you don't have. But if we come together, we
Ooh.
powerhouses. That's what Martin Luther King wanted.
Yep.
He just wanted us to come together.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Ooh.
it. In this Black History Month, I think we need to start doing more of that, looking at the gifts in each other and learning how to use each other's gift. And sometimes it's not always, you hit it earlier when you said about not always doing it for money,
Mm-hmm.
because we always want to do it. Oh, well, you got to pay me. I get it. You got the credentials, you got all of the things. But sometimes when you do something just out of the kindness of your heart and give something to somebody, God can give you double fold than what you would have got paid that $5
Mm-hmm.
or that $10 or that $100, whatever it could have been. He
Right.
can give you much more, much more.
And he sure can. Whew. Boy, we are on a roll today. I like this. Let's get talking about your event coming up.
Okay, yes, I'm
Okay,
so excited.
it's coming up. What can ladies expect when they walk into the room?
Well, first of all, I want to give a shout out to the brunch spot. That's where it's going to be at the brunch spot on Kitty Hawk Road. And let me give you the actual address so they can know where it's going to be. And I was so happy when the owner opened her doors for me to have this there. And it's only to the first 15 ladies. So it's a very intimate
Mm-hmm.
gathering. And we are going to be literally talking about resetting because, it's still a new year,
Yeah.
but, we need to always be resetting our lives and waking up, seeing how we can be renewed and restored in our life. There's always something that we are, you know, missing, or we're
Mm-hmm.
always like, we don't get everything or see everything. And so this is an opportunity for you to come and reset, for you to come and be with some other like minded women who need to reset, and also to
Right.
show you that you're not alone. Because that's the other thing. We
Mm-hmm.
get stuck in our homes, we get stuck in our head, and we think, don't nobody know what I'm going through. Don't nobody know, you know, they don't understand. They don't know the feeling. They don't know. But if you get around some other people, you can combat that lie because that's a
Yep.
lie. It's a
Exactly.
lie that people, that the enemy puts in our heads to say, don't nobody understand. You're alone. Like ain't nobody in the world been through what you've been through.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yep.
say what goes around comes
Comes
around
around. Yep.
all the time. It
Yep.
does.
I got that
So,
address for you. You got it?
yep, I got
Okay.
it. So it's going to be at the brunch spot at 8022 Kitty Hawk Road, 8022 Kitty Hawk Road, Converse, Texas. It is limited to 15 guests, and you must RSVP, and you can RSVP. There is a link that I can share with you, and you can go to my website at refreshyolife.com, and that's ReFreshyo life.com.
Okay.
And I think we only have a few slots left, I can tell you right now. So if anybody would like to be there, it is free. The only thing you have to pay for is your food. So we are doing brunch at the brunch spot, which is I love her food, and it's very intimate setting, but she's such a kind owner. I don't know if you've ever met her, but she is just a sweetheart. She really is. And I'm grateful for her opening up her establishment for us to have this here.
I just posted that in the comment section here with the link that people they could go to
Okay.
the comment section and pick it up, and I will post this on my Facebook page too, so everybody knows what's going
Okay.
on. So,
Okay. Okay. Yes.
boy, you
But yes,
are
they'll get a little taste of the workbook as well. So if you come, you'll get a little taste of what's in the workbook. And I think I'm gonna start like a little group session with the workbook for some people
mhm.
who want to do it as a group of ladies. Because some people say, well, I want to do it, but I want to do it with other people. And that's great because then you can really bounce ideas. You can bounce things off. What do I do in this situation? What do I do when I face this or face that? It really does help when we come together and can help each other.
Yeah, I tell you what, everybody, she is not reading my questions. Okay, letting y'all know that. What should a woman bring with her mentally or spiritually to get the most out of this event?
Mm, just bring yourself. Bring all of your hurt. Bring all of your disappointments. Even bring your happiness. Bring your joy. Bring who you feel like you can't get up in the morning and be. Just bring it. Just come. Come as you are. Be ready and be open. That's what I say. Come
Mm,
and be open. That's what you can bring. Be willing to soak up and absorb all that we talk about. And I really believe that you're going to leave refreshed. My motto says we are broken pieces. We all are. We are broken pieces of things that's happened in our life. But God wants to show us how He wants to restore us into great treasure. And so that is what I model this by.
okay. So, a couple more questions. Where can people connect with you, and what is the best next step after this event?
So you can connect with me on social media under Refresh Your Life, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I have a YouTube channel as well, and it's called Refresh Your Life. And just like Ron here, I actually have a podcast, and my podcast is called Refresh Your Life Conversations. And it's where I sit down and I talk with many women or men on many levels, no matter where you are, who want to share their story. Because I want people just like you, Ron. I don't give them questions ahead of time because I want it to be raw and real. I
Yes.
want it to be, you know, come from the heart. I really want you to talk and be honest with people because people are looking for realness and they've seen the fake. We watch what happens on TV, and a lot of that stuff is scripted.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't real. Okay. But people are looking for, wow, that really happened. And you're still standing and you're still smiling. Yeah, and so the next step, coming to this event after you've experienced this event with all of us is to get the workbook and then start the process of your journey. Start the workbook. You can also set up a one-on-one session with me. I do one-on-one sessions with people. I don't claim to be a therapist or a counselor or any of that. This is just the gift that God has given me to be able to walk with people through the Word of God and to show them who God wants them to be and how He wants to change their life. And so that would be the next step. And I'm also looking for guests. I'm looking for guests to come on my own show, Refresh Your Life Conversations. And we talked about Dr. Gloria Wright. She was one of my guests. And I love just talking to people and just hearing their stories because it encourages me. It lets
Mm-hmm.
me know, you know what? Again, you're not alone. I don't care what those voices in your head say.
Yeah.
You are not alone. You're not alone.
Because sometimes you think your life is rough, then you hear about somebody else. Yours is like sunshine, then, because you never know what people are going through. You listen to somebody and you say, ooh, I thought I had it bad,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
there's I don't want to say there's levels of tragedies, but there are certain things that people couldn't live that other person lived. How did they go
Yes.
through it? How did they handle themselves going through that? I never would have been able to do that. Well, you could say that you never have, but if something happened to you, I'm pretty sure you can figure out what to do and how to do it or seek help on how to do it. So don't
Yeah.
say I can't do what they're doing, but you can.
Yes. You can. You can. We can do all things through Christ, which
Mm-hmm.
strengthens He who strengthens us. That's, and I have to live by those things. I have to keep saying those things to myself. I can do all things. And what is in all? All.
Mm-hmm.
There is no stipulation to that word. It's all. All is what it is. And so we just have to trust in the Lord with all of our heart, all, and lean not into our own understanding. In all of our ways, acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path.
See, that's what I'm talking
Mhm.
about. All right. In closing, young lady, tell us
Yes.
about your event coming up and how can people get a hold of you?
Yes. So our event coming up on February the 14th, it is a Valentine's Day, and it is going to be at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Brunch Spot, 8022 Kitty Hawk Road, Converse, Texas. It is RSVP, so you have to click the link, go to the ReFreshYourLife.com website and RSVP. You can also do it on my Facebook page. I have links there. Ron is going to show it here. And you can also reach me at um, best way to reach me is through Facebook on Messenger. You can send me a message and we can connect. If you would like to be on my podcast, please message me on my Facebook under Fredricka Thomas or Refresh Your Life. I have a Facebook page called Refresh Your Life. And it's YO. So people go and try to put your and be proper. It's not a proper, it's yo. YO. Refresh your life. So I
Yeah.
really wanted to reiterate that. It's your life, not
Okay.
your. I want you to get your life together.
Yeah, there you go. For people who look at words and you spelt it wrong, it should be spelt like this. No, leave it
Yes,
alone.
yes,
Leave it
yes.
alone.
Leave it alone. Yes.
Yeah. Well, Fredricka Thomas, I appreciate taking the time out coming on. We will talk some more because I want to know how things were this week and how did everything go. And
Okay.
anything this radio station could do for you, you just reach out to us, okay?
Okay, Ron, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I am so grateful for you and thankful for this opportunity.
Okay. We'll talk to you later.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Recordings